Good morning, friends, and welcome to Garden at Creekside. Today the construction continues here at the terrace garden with more walls, steps, construction, all the fun things. So it is Tuesday morning. Yesterday was Labor Day. I'm going to be messed up all week because I think what the day is, but construction continues here. The weather has finally turned. It is a lot drier. It is cooler. Praise the Lord. So we are out here nice and early trying to get a good jump on everything. What Jerry is doing is digging the trench for the retaining wall that will go, it's not even a retaining wall. It's more of a decorative wall, a little knee wall that will go on the back side of the cottage garden that will enclose the whole terraced garden patio with the Bago boxes. So it is, you look at this and it is like a quote massive mess. He has gone ahead and trenched where the wall is going to be. Brenda's not sure what to do, like how she should navigate this, but basically you can see where the trench started right behind the baptisia right here. So this little wall is going to basically start right here and be a beautiful, nice straight line where Andrew is all the way back, pretty much behind the next baptisia that is down there. You can see that they did find the other irrigation line. So this pipe right here was the main source of water and taking it over to the other pipes. He has skirted the other pipes beautifully. You can just see that white PVC that goes down. So there's 3 lines that then come right here on this wall and go all the way down. So the goal for today is get this cleaned up. So as Jerry has been digging with the excavator, Andrew was coming in with the shovel. So you can see it's nice and clean. Just like we did with the major, this is actually a retaining wall. With this wall, we will go ahead and put a nice base of the washed stone down into that trench. You use that washed stone. That is your strong foundation, of course, on top of our lovely red clay. And then you build from there. So they're getting that trench completely dug, but what they'll actually start building first are the little walls beside the steps. So remember, the form of the steps is going to stay, like the new steps will be the same size, width, everything of the existing steps. But of course, we're going to take out those wooden forms. Last week, we got this trench dug with the gravel in it. So then in a minute, I think Jerry's going to go ahead and come and do this side. So that way, we'll come back through, take out this soil right here because we're going to have that wall come up beside the steps and then shoot down on each side. We do have to add one more step right here, but it was just easier, of course, to go ahead and trench that across. So while the fellas are going to be working on the trenching, moving the irrigation, the walls, all the fun things, I am going to be working in the cottage garden and looking at that. So let me navigate down there and then I'll meet you in a second and we'll talk about what I'm going to be doing in the cottage garden. When we first created this garden, I absolutely fell in love with the cottage garden, right? So this was the first time that we had been able to landscape this hill because it had been a problem area for the past, I don't know, we've been in our house almost 21 years now. And so for a long time, this hill was a huge problem. And so to have the cottage garden was just such a welcome relief because it was beautiful flowers and we just got gorgeous color and I loved it. So we put this garden in, oh my gosh, I don't even know, maybe 8 years ago, maybe. And so it is time to kind of revamp the garden. Obviously, we're going to keep the cottage garden because I love this space. However, there are certain plants that are just, they need to be moved. There are some design elements that I want to change in this bed. So what am I talking about? Well, first of all, I have tons of proven winter daylilies in here and I love them. They are wonderful, but they're massive, right? They are huge and they are just taking up a ton of real estate in this garden. Remember, I don't know, was that a month or so ago, I was dealing with this problem weed right here. It is come back with a lovely vengeance, so we know exactly where it is, which I'm actually kind of glad. I'm not going to go ahead and cut it down. I'm going to leave it so that way Jerry can come in with the excavator hopefully and maybe dig this stuff out. So we're going to re-look at all of the plants in this garden. I am actually going to go ahead. I am not an artist whatsoever. Like my drawing skills leave a lot to be desired. But what I am going to do is while the fellows are working, I'm going to get some paper and I'm going to sketch out both of these beds in the cottage garden. And I'm basically going to map out the plants that are here. So that way on paper, I can say, okay, you're staying, or you're going to stay exactly where you are, or you get to stay in the garden, but I also need to divide you and we're going to put you in a different location, or you're completely being evicted and you're going to go end up somewhere else in another garden, somewhere else on the property. So I've got to think about that because this is the perfect time to be doing this. One, we're entering fall. Hopefully getting some cooler temperatures that will stay here. So that's a great time to move your perennials, to divide your perennials, going, especially here in the southeast, going into fall, into winter. This is a great time to divide those daylilies. It is a great time to move your spiderwort or your lamb's ear or whatever the case may be, right? So this is a great time to do that. And we're under construction. So no time like the present to go ahead and work that. We do have drip irrigation in this bed. You'll see it kind of ripped out everywhere. That's the brown tubing that we have. I want to go ahead and pull all of that out. Obviously the irrigation is off because hello, we're under construction and they've cut it multiple times. And so I want to pull all of it out anyway, because when we redesign the garden and I change where plants are, then I want to make sure that, I hit those plants in the correct manner. So that is what I am going to be doing while the fellas are working here on the steps and this next wall. We are this week especially going to have some lovely, lovely weather. So we are like, okay, all hands on deck. We're going to work hard. We're going to get it done. So, but before I start construction, as far as, well, not construction, but as far as like, I guess constructing my drawings, I need to go feed the chickens because I don't know if you can hear them, but they're squawking. They have not been fed this morning, and they're not happy with me because they are hungry. They're little divas, and so we need to go make sure that they have plenty of food and some dried mealworms. So that's what we're going to do first, and then I'm going to start sketching. to come give you a quick little update on how things are going. It is now after lunch. We are progressing quite nicely. So if you've ever been around us and when we do projects, they change on the fly. How we say, oh, well, this is what we're gonna do, and then we get into the project and we're like, well, we're gonna tweak it a little bit. So we had a little tweaking that we're doing. Jerry is currently digging out the steps. So he's on the excavator and digging that out. As best that I can recall and understand the whole process, they're digging it out because they're going to go ahead and have the wall go all the way across. So we were going to do the steps first, but we're not, because then they realized that they've got to make sure that the grade is correct. So we're going to kind of tiptoe up here. Andrew has already gotten basically the first course on the first half of the wall done. So you can see that it's nice and kind of sunk down in there. You're not even going to see this first course at all, because by the time we kind of bring this soil back from the garden, you won't see it. And then of course the pavers, the permeable pavers will be on the patio portion, so you're not even going to see this at all. So we've got it nice and square with the wall back there. So the end of the wall and the end of the wall are nice and square, and off we go. There is 17 feet from depends on how you look at it. I consider this the back of the wall because thinking about the patio. So from the back of the wall to the front of that wall is 17 feet. So the best that I understand it is that they're going to go ahead and continue this first course all the way over. And then they're going to build off of the steps from there. So Jerry went ahead and dug out what was left in the steps right there, just so that he didn't want Andrew, bless his heart, to go ahead and do this first course and then have to dig this out and then the wall collapse in there. So that is my understanding of that right now. So yeah, it's a mess. It's always a mess. Construction is a mess. I did go ahead and get the tree cut out. So let me give you a little update on the tree. Remember, we had a massive loropetalum growing here, just huge. And you know what kind of quote my fear is that the loropetalum was growing into the green giant, which it did, and so therefore it no sunlight could get into the green giant, so we have a bit of a hole. But I would rather have this hole here, because if we didn't have the hole, then there would be like the loropetalum would just completely be, I don't even know, it was probably like right here, so it would be kind of covering this whole wall portion. Obviously that's a no-go. So I went through and all I did was cut out the dead branches. I didn't cut any branches that were green. We just went ahead and cut that out. So I do have some hope that this will fill in. Not anytime soon, but over time, hopefully it will fill in. And the reason that I have that hope is because on the tree, you will see there is green growth. So like here's a little sprig, a new little sprig coming out right there. So we've got this little sprig. You can see we've got a sprig here. We've got another sprig up top. Like there's multiple ones up there. So I'm hoping that once we get sunlight in here, over time, this will fill in. Now, these trees are huge. They're massive, hence the name Green Giant. And they provided that privacy screen when we had the tractor shed back here. That is now, of course, has been taken down and is gone. At some point, within maybe the next year or so, we will build like a barn type structure that will be used for storage, possibly like a studio for videos, my storage space for gardening things and supplies. That will go back there. But these giants are gorgeous, and so this will be a process. One of you lovely viewers, genius idea, said why not put a large pot right here and plant it, very similar to what we did with the Asian water bowl at the signature garden. And I love that idea because we were thinking that we would put something in the ground, right? Actually plant either a specimen tree or something to kind of help fill that in. But I mean, that is a very, quote, permanent answer. And if this tree will fill out in the next 5 years, you know, whatever it is, then I don't want to have another tree or bush or whatever it is growing into this. But if we put a large pot right here, we can move that pot over time, right? So as the tree, if it does fill in and then it just does great, then we can completely remove the pot, so forth. So that's on the table. Jerry's not completely gotten on board with that. I do have the perfect unique stone piece over at the nursery, but yeah, I just need him to sit on it for a little bit and then give me the green light. So you can see here that the fellas are continuing to move on and get that across. We will see how far Andrew makes it today. It is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I would love, because I get to be very impatient over here, but I would love it if we were able to at least put another course across, you know, because once you get the first course, the other courses go really, really fast. But we can't do that until he gets that course down. But I would love to see some more courses go up just to get a feel for the space. Sometimes I have a hard time. I see the big picture, but to like actually put it into actual practical how it's going to look, sometimes I have problems with that. I have a vision, but not a super detailed vision, if that makes any kind of sense. So we're gonna let them work, move the tent so that he's in the shade. Gotta keep my man cool. So he's the star of the show. And the reason that we're not really helping him is because there's not much to do. This is a one-person job right now because, as you can see, he's moving the level back and forth. So you have to make sure it's level every which way possible, because if it's not level, then the wall will not be level. So you can see like he's putting the piece back in. He had taken a little bit of the gravel out. Then he takes the mallet, he whacks on it, he taps it this way, he taps it that way. So it is a very tedious process, and really it's a one-person show. So he does that. Now, when we start doing the other courses, obviously we will all jump in there and help him and get that done. And then Jerry's just in there digging out the steps. Now, also with the steps, I do remember this now, so I can tell you, things start coming back to me. With the steps, he's taken all the soil out. We're gonna go, when we start building the steps, we're gonna backfill with all of the wash stone. So we're not gonna have the soil be tiered. We'll use the wash stone for that. Couple of reasons. The main reason is drainage, right? So when the original design of the garden and the garden boxes and the steps, like on a regular basis, whether it was we had too much rain or the irrigation got left on for too long or something like that, the bottom step would always flood. So it would just hold the water. So by now putting that in with a wash stone, and I'm sure I don't know if we'll have a drain pipe at the very, very bottom, like up against the driveway. I know we're gonna have it up top where Andrew is. I don't know if we're gonna have it at the very, very bottom. But having that wash stone, that water will just all flow through. Probably not gonna have one at the bottom, because basically where Jerry is and the work truck is, remember, was that a year ago? It may have been a year ago now, I don't even know. We put in a massive French drain from the edge of the garage pad to where, like I said, the work truck is. So there's already a French drain in place right there. So I can probably just go ahead and answer that we're not gonna put a pipe in right there. So we're gonna let them work and we will see how far we get done today. Tomorrow morning when we get out here, it's gonna be like 56 degrees. It's gonna be fantastic. Our dew point last week, when we were out here, the hottest day, it was 72 degree dew point. Thick air. This morning it was 55 degree dew point. Dew point tells you how thick and heavy the air is and how the moisture evaporates off of you. So for a 55 for us is like dry air. It is glorious. I was looking at a friend's weather last week when it was so hot, and she's out west. Her dew point was 29. and we were like 72. I was not really happy with her. I texted her and I said, let's switch gardens. You come to North Carolina and I'll go out to Oregon. And she was like, oh yeah, no thanks. She said I would die. I was like, I know, I'm dying. So anyway, we're taking full advantage of this drier air, and we're gonna let the fellas work. Any thoughts you want to share with our peeps for the day?
I'm glad that we purchased the excavator. Yeah. I don't know. Man, people used to be using some shovels.
Can you imagine using a shovel in that clay?
Yeah, they did.
A pickaxe.
Yeah. Pickaxes, shovels, wheelbarrows. Oh my gosh, and a dump truck. Yeah, we got a lot of work done. That wall is basically complete. Building out for the steps. I think we are going to go ahead. There was some discussion about holding off on this bottom wall. I think we're going to go ahead and do the bottom wall. We're going to, get this dug out from here all the way down the driveway to the corner down there. That'll really give us, and then we're going to of course do this section over here. That'll give us the really good looking framework. We'll be done with the digging. I like to be done with the digging. So that's going to be some loads of dirt to go out here tomorrow. If we do that tomorrow, and then yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking.
What corner would we start on? Like if we're gonna do
the longest one.
No, I understand that. But which end? Are we gonna start here or are we gonna start down there?
I'm gonna start right here.
So I need to know, we need to talk about plants.
So you're gonna lose plants through there.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, I need to tell you what we're saving and what's going to happen to those plants.
Right, and if you have plants that you want to go ahead and remove out of there, I can do a really nice job with the excavator and pop them out.
Yes.
So we could do all that tomorrow.
Perfect.
We've got to, you know, we know what we're 12 feet off the back end of the driveway is kind of where we were here. And then we need to determine a measurement probably from the house kind of out, just so we kind of have an idea of where we want it. I mean, we could put it anywhere we want to.
Sure.
It's just, I like where it's, I like that width of the driveway right now, you know, so I like to keep it. So that's the plan on that part, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Thanks for your input. I'm going to show the people what we finished.
Yeah, because then we'll, you know, get in there. You can see the nice place for the patio.
I know.
Yeah. We got some work to do in there because we've got some grading, a little bit more grading to do, probably a little more dirt to come out, and piping for irrigation all has to be done.
Yes.
So I'm gonna get a shower.
Okay, toodles. All right, my people. So there you go. You can see where the two walls are. And yeah, so obviously the hole in the wall is where the steps are going to go. And right now, oh my gosh, y'all, I'm telling you what. So all of this gravel right here is like, this whole slope is nothing but gravel. Total, complete gravel. So walking on it can be, I think we've all tripped at least a gazillion times today, and we've all managed to stay upright. So that's very good. But to give you an idea here of, and I'm going to try to give you a bird's eye perspective, but we wanted these walls, these little guys, just little knee walls. They're not going to be specific like retaining walls. They're not going to be holding anything back. They are just to frame the patio area. And then you have to remember, yes, we're going to grade down some, but also those permeable pavers, I think they're like 6 inches thick. So this wall could get a little bit shorter. And yeah, so everybody is flushed where the two walls on both sides, they right here completely flush with one another. Got the string up and everything looks good there. Let me give you a little bit of a bird's eye perspective here. I'm standing here where the steps are going to be to go up to the chicken coop, and that kind of gives you an idea of the patio space here. Super excited about it. The question is that we're having to think about now is exactly where the landscape lighting is going to go, because I don't know if you can see, I just noticed, you know, none of these caps are glued down because we have to put the landscape lighting in. And as we lean against them, like there's one that's really sticking out. So if it looks crooked to you, it's the caps, it is not the wall. So once we go ahead and glue them in, then we'll get it nice and perfectly straight. So don't let that optical illusion mess you up. But then of course, these walls too will have the caps, nice finishing look on them. So what Jerry was talking about is, I don't know if you can see kind of dead center, that is where the irrigation is, and that's where the main box is with all the valves and everything. So we're going to come straight out. Because currently it runs on the other side of the wall. We're just going to eliminate that. I mean, the pipes can stay in the ground, but we're just going to cut through, and it's just easier to trench straight out, because we do have the 5 Vago boxes that are going to be going in here. And we're going to have irrigation come up through the center of them. So they'll have drip irrigation within the boxes. You'll never ever see that because it'll be kind of under the surface, but we're not going to have, like, say, you know, a PVC pipe coming out of the ground and then tipping over the box. That just won't look very good. So we're not doing that. So everything will be the invisible irrigation. And then we've got to determine if we have enough room, enough space to bring back the unique stone urns and pedestals and have them here on the back side. I just don't know how the spacing is and how crowded that's going to look and how that's going to feel. So we have to figure that out before we do the irrigation, because if we do bring the urns back, then they too will have irrigation coming up through the bottoms of them. So it's just kind of those little bit of things that we have to figure out. I don't think that's tomorrow's problem. I think tomorrow's problem is talking about and telling Jerry which plants are staying and which plants are going. Now, I know at the very beginning of this video, I said I was going to draw it out and da-da-da-da-da and fix it and know exactly where everything is and what's staying and what's going. Did you need to do that? Nope, sure didn't. So I just got preoccupied doing other little tasks all the way around and helping the fellas get, make sure that they had what they needed. And yeah, so we'll figure that out tomorrow. We can handle that tomorrow on tomorrow's problem. But it is 5 o'clock and we're done. And so it's been a great day. Feel really, really good about getting done what we did get done, and that's awesome. So as always, my friends, we hope you have found this fun, informative, inspirational, and informative. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Tomorrow we'll be back at it. We'll see you there. Bye, friends.